What's described as the largest female economic empowerment platform in the Middle East got underway today here in Dubai. The Women in Leadership Economic Forum aims to bring together like-minded people from around the world in order to shape the economy of tomorrow. Eva Mourino is Senior Vice President of HR at Siemens Middle East, and she joins us here in the studio. Eva, great to have you with us. Let me start by asking you, what do you think the best way is to reach gender parity in the workplace, and who should be driving that growth?
Thank you for having me here, Greg. The only option that we have is to make it a strategic priority and put it in the high levels of the agenda of what we want to drive as companies. Every single person in the organization is accountable for that. It's not linked to a group or a specific, it's for every single one of us to take it seriously.
So are we seeing more job opportunities being given to women today in the workplace, particularly here in the UAE, particularly obviously in leadership roles?
All the companies are doing great efforts at this moment to try to close the gap. What I'm impressed about in the UAE is our government and our leadership, because they are giving us a fantastic example on what can be done, and they already reached parity. So the only thing that we can do in the private sector is to follow them as fast as we can.
So how are companies like yours then helping to progress the women in leadership role? How can you directly do that on a ground level, so to speak?
Probably it depends on the industries. In our case, as we are part of the STEM community, where there's supposed to be a bigger gap and where it is supposed to be much more difficult, what we are doing today is catching up with what other companies have been doing in terms of making our workplace flexible and with policies that are much more alike what the new generations would like to have. And I prefer to talk about the new generations than only gender. And after that, we are changing all our talent acquisition teams to make sure that we are able to reach out to all the talent out there and convince them to come and work with us once we are ready.
Would you say that there are certain sectors that are doing a better job than others at the moment?
I work in different sectors, and the reality is that some of them are a little bit ahead of others, probably because they are new, probably because they are much more close to customers, and that make them to be a little bit faster on the integration because they want to mirror a little bit their consumers. In our case, it's a little bit more male-dominant industry.
And what is does education play a part when it comes to educating certain CEOs who currently hold top positions to change their opinion, change their mindset?
For all of us, right? I would say it's a little bit more like explain to them why this is important, right? So, and I always say this is not even for me, this is for the new generation. So when I have CEOs in front of me that are extremely stubborn with this, my main comment is, if you have a daughter, what kind of workplace you want to live for your daughter? Right? Is this what you want for them? Because we are not fighting for us any longer. We are trying to leave a better space for the future and for the future generations. Of course, we have to educate them, and we need to give them examples. It's also true that every single individual, when they are working with any other minority, by the moment they are close to them, they learn a lot, and then they open their minds. So it's a little bit about pushing to make it happen.
Now, at the Women in Leadership Economic Forum, which is currently underway, there's another day, it runs tomorrow as well. What, for you, were the key takeaways, just briefly, that you took away today?
I just came from that. The forum is getting bigger and bigger every year. It's extremely energizing. It's giving us a lot of insights. For companies like Siemens, it's a way to say a little bit loudly what we are doing and to make everyone understand that we are taking it seriously. For me, the main takeaway was a panel of refugees, women refugees that left their countries for many different reasons, how strong they were, how resilient they were, and how much they explain us how education should be a place with no barriers and no walls in the planet, right? Extremely inspiring, extremely inspiring.
We'll leave it there. We've run out of time, but Eva Mourino, appreciate you coming in tonight. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot.